everybody, welcome back to Jaraci Cup 5. Starting up with getting into a really interesting series here. My goodness. Brain.exe stopped responding for a second. But it's going to be Descara versus Orbnet, and this one I think we are very, very hyped about. It looks like this is actually coming from Orbnet's side, so I apologize. I figured that Descara was a bit lazy with his info.txt, but it was not so. But Orb definitely doing better than he had with the last one. He put them up into folders here, so we don't know how many games there are, which is very nice. Please nobody spoil that if you've watched it already. I'm going to be so tilted. But the faction picks are going to be Soban for Orbnet and Coalition for Descara. Of course, Orbnet knows that Descara mains Coalition. And I believe he wanted to play Soban versus Coalition in any case. And he's going to be doing his classic Orbnet build, it looks like. Targeting Gemini gets thrown out, but the base runner retires. Not going to be a rush, though. He's going to go for SC first. And Descara, I will be amazed if he doesn't try to punish this at least once in this series. But it looks like game one, he's content to just go for a Spore Cruiser first instead. Map picks are going to be Boneyard, and then Kosh, and then Firebase Krill, and then GT, Alt, and then Canyon. So I have a feeling that we're playing on the wrong map here. I think that this is actually game 3. But, you know, what are you going to do? LAV Fab starting up for Descara here at the usual timing. No, I think he was on time with the SC, but I might be wrong. Depends if he quick dropped or not. I wasn't looking myself. What timing should this be coming out? Because maybe this would tell us a thing or two. Because this came out at 28:40. You recommend going... Okay, yeah, let's just go to game 1 while we still have some time. I'll just kind of shuffle these replays around, because it looks like game 1 is not game 1. I assume game 3 is? Yeah, game 3 is 1v1 smaller, which is Boneyard. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. Golly, I'm dying. Anyway, the faction matchups, of course, are going to be the same. And I know that Descara was the lower seed too, so I don't know what the bans are exactly. I imagine Torn Crater was probably banned around here. Maybe Kartoba Alt, maybe, I don't know. Because Canyon Alt wasn't banned, GT Alt is going to be played too. So I don't know what the other ban would have been, but I wouldn't be surprised if Descara banned College Teeth. Shallows, that's the map that I was forgetting about earlier. Yeah, okay. Descara banned Kartoba. Oh. Here, let me just put this info into the document here. Orb bans Shallows. Yeah, because Orbnet does really despise the Shallows. And you know what? That actually would not have been a bad pick, because I think that it's not unlikely that Descara would have played on it, too. Because I know he's pretty good at it. But this is going to be the same thing, so it's the Orbnet build, as we've come to call it. Which I think he shouldn't be terribly happy about, because I'm pretty sure that this is a bad build. But it is named after him, so... You know, scientists are happy when diseases are named after them. So I think perhaps Orbnet will be happy when this build is named after him too, you know? And I think you're right, A-Game. I think that Descara's SC timing is a little bit off, actually, because he had, like, a lot of CUs floating right when the SC was built there, so I have a feeling that he was just a little bit slow on getting them, but I don't know. And this one's actually going to be even a little bit slower than what we saw on Firebase, because it's going to be like 28:30 or so when this is done. I have inside info, but I'll try not to spoil. Ooh, spicy. I have some inside info too, though. Descara DM'd me before the matches, and he was like, "Orbnet is retiring his base runner, isn't it? Isn't he?" And I was like, "Yeah," because you know he'd been watching a couple of the casts, and he was like, "Should I just cheese him to death then?" Oh yikes! Wow, SCAA is really good actually, but. I think that tells Descara everything he needed to know. Still gonna be mad he doesn't have that to check for tech, but he can probably assume it's gonna be AV. This is what we've seen pretty much always from Orbnet, so this is probably not a huge surprise for Descara. But I was like, I don't know, man, you know, do what you will. I didn't want to influence the series or anything. And Descara was like, you know, I think I'll cheese him in game 1. But it doesn't look like he has, so Maybe he's gonna reconsider here a little bit. At any rate, I'm sure that descara is trusting though that he's gonna be able to beat his opponent here if he's going for this sort of questionable SC first there. Miracro. Yeah, well, descara's having a bit of trouble doing that as well. It's like the Paralympics here, as both players try to get their carriers lined up properly onto the base. And no, I think Sport Cruiser Anti-Air is a little bit better, but I'm not sure. You know, A-Game, I feel like it's not so bad on this side, but like on this side, it's freaking terrible. I hadn't actually thought of putting it where descara has it. This is kind of an interesting idea, but it's also a little bit dangerous, I guess, if you get attacked here, because the carrier will take a bit more time to get back to the main. Well, I'm pretty sure Support Cruiser Anti-Air actually kills the probe faster, because I think PC Anti-Air is better, but it has modifiers against small targets. I guess A-Game can confirm or deny that for us. Second SC on the way for Orb here. But descara not interested in that. He's going to go for Fighter and Gunship instead. A couple of AVs streaming out across the field from him as well. He's got the timings nicely lined up as well. No more modifiers. Oh. So PCs and base runners are actually doing just the straight damage that they do against probes, huh? Like that they do against strike fighters, they're also doing it against probes? That's interesting. I knew no such thing. Anyway, it is going to be Fighter and Gunship from descara. So this is a very classic build to see, I suppose. Obviously, we're very used to seeing this from earlier Jaraci Cups and from Kara Cups as well. And he did line up the production upgrade very nicely. He's got RUs too. Well, that's the thing. SCA has a very small range. Ah. Little bit of an attack trying to be geared up here for Orbnet, but this is why descara, of course, always suggests that you leave the base runner back at home. Probe comes down, so he knows what he's doing. And it's going to be instant battlecruiser fab from Orbnet. Descara bad player. Yeah, I can confirm descara is a noob. Not much to do about that. But two AVs to defend here. Descara very good with his smoke micro. We have the turret up in play as well. There's no way that this is going to work for Orb, and sure enough, he has to back away. And descara maybe could even chase to try and secure a kill, but he's not interested in risking that. Gets a bit of scouting on the carrier as well. I don't know if he knows about 3-base, but he does still have the probe. And descara is going to launch the strike fighters now, so he's ready to go, and I think he's going to just start wrecking up his eco. His problem is going to be battlecruiser fab still, I believe, but golly, I mean, he's gonna do a lot of damage here. So I feel really worried for Orbnet. And I don't know, I think Orbnet lost... No, he just never threw the probe out at all, didn't he? But he didn't know about this air timing. He didn't have any scouting on it. And again, this is, I think, a problem with the lack of probe when you do SC first like that. And an entire base just gets sniped out, and now they might as well be on 2-base. Like a 2-base mirror here. And if descara expands onto 3-base faster, which he is making the SC for it right now, you know, it's not even going to matter that... It's not even going to matter that Orb got his SC timing a little bit faster. Although he does get repelled, it looks like, from the 3rd, but... That is true, A-Game, that is true. Interesting the strike fighters would target this instead of the weaker RU self that's dead there, but... Seems to know what he's doing, he gets a kill anyway. Maybe he'll get another... No, this guy's gonna get out. So I think it probably would have been better if he targeted the RU self here, but... Still, the eco damage is very, very big here. A bit of a misrally from descara. This SC is gonna be out, of course, as he was busy microing these strike fighters. Tries to dump just a little bit of damage on the AVs, but he's actually out of ammo. And he's gonna have to back away. And BC Fab is done, but Orb doesn't feel that he can produce just yet. These two AVs are looking for a bit of damage too, and the thing is, he's got, the thing is that Orbnet has actually got AVs to defend, but they're gonna get hooned on by these strike fighters. So this actually maybe could be some good damage from descara anyway. Indeed, indeed they do. Now it looks like these AVs are gonna be mostly neutralized. I guess they'll get like a kill here, but maybe they'll pop off this ALM too? No, they're gonna go down. And SCAA is finished. Descara knows about this now. It looks like this strike fighter here is gonna die. Gets a kill, but that was probably just a bit of a lapse of micro. So Orb is ready to go now, but he's taken a lot of damage here. But yeah, that's a salient point though, again, because descara was saying that strike fighters aren't good enough at punishing greed anymore. And what I want to know is who is actually ahead right now, because we do actually have BC Tech done now for Orb, and he's going to move out across the field with them. Descara building ACs, by the way. And he's really going to need Railfab to deal with the BCs, but he doesn't necessarily know that Orb wants to go for this many BCs. Like, he doesn't know about this. But, of course, that's why we don't play best of ones. This is just the first game in the series. Descara's going to have time to adapt to this. But I'm actually really worried for him. I think Orb could take game 1 here just off of this BC push. Because I don't know that Descara really knows about this. And actually, that's a good point, though, Shrey, because Descara is beginning to extract here, but it's a little bit late, maybe. Well, no, I take that back, because he's still got pretty good field control. There's a support cruiser with anti-air here right now. But he's finally just now going to see the carry. He sees the BC. So at this point, he probably needs to be teching Railfab. I would cancel that and just go straight into it. Either that or bombers. What do you think about bombers in this situation? Because there's support cruiser anti-air, but obviously bombers are going to be able to neutralize that really nicely. But he's not teching anything, actually. And this worries me most of all. He could tech carrier power or something, but like at this point anything is kind of too late. Too low tempo, not enough damage. Yeah, maybe you're right. I mean, it facilitates the strike fighters is the thing, but... What does Descara do now, though? This AC, by the way, I feel like he really needs to be here, in fact. But he kind of has to secure the extract. Yeah, and it looks like these AVs are going to push on it. But I feel like maybe the strike fighters could... The strike fighters could deal with the AV, and then both of the ACs could be here for the fight. And that is kind of what he's going to do, but now he's sort of gotten a wedge driven in his lines here. Turret is actually surprisingly not as bad as you'd think against Soban BCs, but it's still definitely not ideal. I say as it evades death once more. Freaking Imba turret can't die. Look, it's still like half the damage of a BC already. That's actually really good for Descara, but he misses the first tac missile barrage, which is going to be crucial. Uh-oh, strike fighters have to run through the strike fighters have to run through the SCAA too. And the ACs didn't get that barrage off, so the damage output here is huge for Orbnet. He's actually going to win. I think like there's no way at this point that Descara can take this, although he does have 2 extracts, so he really needs to be powering up. This is again a bit late. One BC goes down? No. One AC goes down there. Honestly, Orb, you're right. It's very funny. You know what? Both carriers getting pretty low here, but the damage for Orb is so much more consistent because of these BCs. Smoke comes in, it's pretty clutch, but the one carrier is still here. It can do damage. Oh, and there's a BC on top of him. Yeah, that should really... Yeah, that's it. And Orbnet takes game 1 with the Orbnet build. Can you believe it? I thought that build was trash, but Descara actually gonna lose in game 1. Okay. All of a sudden, I'm even more hyped for this game than I was before. College Teeth gonna be the next map in play here. Picked, I believe, by Descara. And that's not a huge surprise to me because Descara, of course, knows College Teeth really well, and it's a good AC map as well, which Descara, I think, likes that unit more than any others. I'm looking at the Eco tab here, though, because I want to try and figure out how much damage Descara really did with those strike fighters. I definitely agree with that, Shrike. I definitely agree with that. Either that or Tech BC faster, but I mean that seems like a silly option. I think Rails really would have helped Descara there, but like A-Game said, he was a bit late on the scout, and he also didn't really do anything as the BCs were coming up toward him. He made a couple ACs, but they were all out of position. And that sledgehammer was really effective. The thing is here, so Orb has the eco mining advantage, but he also held his opponent off 3 base at the end. Uh, and his opponent had to replenish salves, but even so, descara has a better spending amount. So I almost want to say that descara did get ahead off of that eco damage, but because you got to factor in, I think that I think almost like 2,000 of these CUs are on replacement salvagers, right? But I don't know. Let's jump into game two. I'm very interested now. This is gonna be a really hyped series, man. I believe he killed 7. So the air killed 6, and then the 2 AVs killed 1 on the main. And 7 times 150 is 700 plus 3 is 1,050. So that's not as much CU as I thought. So yeah, descara did get ahead with the air, but it didn't impact the late game at all. So maybe it was still a trap. Nothing new from Orb here, no probe, very good targeting jammer position. And actually, you know what, that could be pretty relevant later on into the game. I think that the AVs can just barely sneak through like right here and get damage in on the TJ, but that's going to be a bit hard to micro, obviously. So I think that's a very good targeting jammer positioning. You just need to have too much eco to harass. I mean, hey, it worked, you know. I'm not going to doubt that. It actually did work. And again, descara just going to do his typical SC first gear. Really, though, I'm very surprised that there's no AV rush, because I feel like that's got to be what's going to really kill Orbnet here if he keeps doing this. If he keeps doing this kind of strategy, but... LEV coming out from Orb now, which is definitely the correct thing to do. I was getting a little bit of low frames there, so I think that's why you got that for a second. Or maybe a bit of stream lag, I mean, you never know. With my internet, anything could happen. Kalash Tooths. You know, I guess this kind of vaguely resembles a tooth. Oh no. Not now in my moment of triumph. I don't know. It tells me that my upload speed is pretty good. Hopefully it gets fixed. AV Fab gonna come out from Orbnet. descara moving up onto 2 base right now. He's only a little bit behind, but obviously at this top level these small differences make a big deal. And I feel like descara has not gone for any punish on this probe yet, so... Or off of this, off of this VR retire. I'm still worried. I'm still worried for descara. Because I feel like Orb was able to just get a little bit ahead last game, and it turned out to result in some pretty big damage. And again, Fighter and Gunship comes out, but here's the adaptation, though, from descara. He's not going to get AV Fab, so he's going to hit a little bit earlier. And now the idea is to say, look, I'm just going to hamper your eco even further to the point where you can't even do what you did last game. So that's the idea. Kalash Teeth is a 2v2 map. Well, I mean, it's already one of like the smallest 1v1 maps. Like that would be like bloody, like just insta death on both sides. You know what I'm saying? I also think this map is so compact. Like, where would you put the extraction? Because one player is gonna have to spawn here, but then he's on top of his extraction zone. I don't know about that. Yeah, I think you're right, Orb. I think this is the smallest map, just in general. Well, maybe that's true. But I don't know if this is playable terrain, like... I think you might fall through the ground if you go back there. AV's popping out for Orbnet here. And he wants to get damage, of course, but descara has seen it coming. He's already put down the turret. It's possible that Orb can still make a breakthrough, though, if he, It's possible Orb can still make a breakthrough if he, like, piles up here, but this is the wrong move. He doesn't want to push in. So that AV gonna get taken down to about half actually already before Orb is even ready to push, which is quite unfortunate, I would say, for Orbnet. But descara feeling the pressure, so he's actually gonna cancel one of the strike fighters and gets power 1. And all of a sudden I'm getting worried again. I'm getting that feeling. Oh, and the carrier starts popping back right before the attack comes in too. So the strike fighters are gonna have to be committed into dealing with this defense here. And all of a sudden, this air is looking really kind of pants, actually. Like if he had AV fab, it would have been better for him. This could maybe have worked on the Boneyard, kind of ironically. And this is such a pity too that descara is taking damage here, because this is one of the maps that descara is very, very good at, and we know that much. But he's actually gonna lose a lot of salves here, and now he's gonna be sort of on the back foot, starting into this next map here. And I mean, obviously if he loses this one, you know, he's going to be on the wall. And Orbnet is, you know, he's not taking any time. He's got SCAA on the way already, and he's just like, he's running for his third base. And the Orbnet build, man, the Orbnet build, I totally doubted it, but it's starting to look really good. I mean, like, he's not been punished in this game. But I'm still saying, like, the AAV rush, that would have been the thing to do. And this is Kalash Teeth. This is, like, the map for it, right? But we didn't see it. And now I think descara really is going to have to come up with a good answer for what he's going to do about BCs, because he probably should know that they're on the way. SCA is already out, he's going to see that, he backs away, not going to fight that again. So, might as well dump his missiles just weeding out this AAV right here. But suddenly the second turret looks a little bit silly, too. Good news for descara, though, is that he is getting up on a 3 base. Slower than his opponent, but he is getting there. And he does have pretty good field control because these SCs are defensive. They're not going to be relevant in the mid just yet, but we do have BC Fab on the way. And Orbnet, of course, is going to plan on stacking up SCs with his BCs when he pushes out across the field. So this is going to be difficult for descara. So what's the innovation for him? AV Tech is on the way. I'm going to suggest, actually, on this map, bombers could work, because you're going to have enough time. And if you can kill the support cruisers that are with your opponent's carrier, then obviously those BCs are just totally vulnerable. We do have base runners coming out too, by the way, for Orbnet, which is very nice, because he's going to want to be getting as many extracts as he can here. descara going to see the carrier briefly there with the strike fighters. He's got to know what this means. He tried full bomber wing. Nice. Well, I feel like that wouldn't really work, especially as Galzian, but the thing about coalition bombers is that they have this huge alpha damage. Looks like descara's play, though, is going to be BC Fab himself. He does have the DPS. He wins that fight if they start on top of each other, but we know that Soban BCs can kite. We've already seen that. It's 2 SCs with this carrier right now. The bombers, well, they can they can two-shot the support cruisers if the strike fighters come in. So bombers come in, 2 of them. They damage the SC, hurts the bombers, not the strike fighters, and then strike fighters come in and finish the kill, and then he can do it again. I feel like bombers could work, but I don't know. Wait, is that true orb? Oh. Yes, it's true. They have less HP than coalition ones. Oh my. 1500 minus 13 times 2. The thing is, yeah, if the BC is moving, it's going to be able to dodge the damage a little bit. I guess that deserves some testing. We should see about that. Strike fighters, by the way, looking to see if they can get some damage here, but descara's battlecruiser fab is still like 17 seconds out. And he's not Soban. These things build fairly slowly. And there's going to be 3 of these out for Orb already. I don't know. I think descara's going to lose here. Like, he doesn't have anything to deal with this play. You know, Orb, we could probably do that if we increase the range, but... Oh, you mean like the bomb coming faster? There's nothing we can do about that. A-Game says he's quite positive that Bomber Tech would be a mistake. And descara already kind of running with this carrier. He's going to try to get as many BCs out before he has to engage. But this is looking pretty rough, I'm not going to lie. And the Strike Fighter see it. He knows, of course, where Orb is. This base here just kind of like awkward monkey meme, just sitting here in the back line like, we're cool, right, guys? You're not going to kill us. But that is really just kind of free for Orb if he wants it. And this SC is already getting tagged. Probe is out now, too, for Orb. The run by. Oh gosh, what the heck? I didn't notice that. So that's good for descara. Oh, and he's gonna make a daring play for the win here. He's just gonna try to focus down with that alpha damage onto the Saban carrier, which doesn't have any armor powered up right now. Oh man, but I think the DPS is higher for Orb. Descara's running for it. AV Fab is on the way, but these BCs are not gonna be able to get this kill. There's no way. He got him down to about a third. That's a pretty valiant effort, but... Yikes. And the Orbnet build, man, it works again. Descara goes down in game 2. That puts him up against the wall. This is so unexpected. I've got to say, like... This matchup especially, CBC descara is normally so comfortable with. Like, you would expect him to 3-0 here. But he's lost 2 in a row. And now he's up against the line on game 3. He could actually lose. This is crazy, man. Okay, well, we've got to see what the adaptation for descara is. It's got to be an AV rush, but like we already saw the opener for this one and it's not. So that's a bit of a yikes. I mean, isn't that so obvious though when your opponent is retiring his BR to just go for AVs? But he's not going to do it. Me too. Because otherwise he's kind of trying to do something that he's seen not work, you know, twice in a row here. Although, to be fair, the reason air didn't work in game 2 is because he was attacked by the AVs, but AV rush was such an obvious play there. I'm surprised he didn't go for it. Because that wasn't even a very big commit from Orbnet, but of course if you skip AV tech you do have some vulnerability there. And once strike fighters are committed to fighting against the rush, this is why that's a really bad thing, because your opponent probably will have anti-air by the time you get there. And I always talk about field control, but like Orb didn't even need it. It almost felt like, you know what I mean? Like he just sort of marched up with these BCs and yeah, descara controlled every area of the field except for that one, but that's the only one that mattered. So descara with SC first once again. I don't know, boys, what's your prediction? Does he win this one? Because I don't know. Orb is feeling really good here, actually. This is crazy. Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Which, by the way, that's something to point out. Even if we kind of decide that what Orb is doing is a little bit exploitable, maybe a little bit overpowered because of the BC damage and the SC anti-air and stuff, you gotta give it to him. This is like... First off, not only did he come up with this idea, but he is executing tremendously well here. And it's led to him having these really, really comfortable endgame scenarios where it feels like there's nothing that descara could even do. Probe comes out, by the way, you're going to see the carrier mining off these CUs here. AV Tech started for Orbnet. And what does descara do? Oh, no, I think it's fine. I was saying the same. but certainly it should be said we don't want to take any of the style out here, like, because Orbnet is playing extremely well. Never forget. Just filling out his base for now is Orbnet. He's going to scout with this LAV. And descara going for AV tech as well. Let's see. So this is Firebase Krill. I agree with that, A-Game. This is Firebase Krill. It's possible that descara could do a sort of a carrier push off of 2 base here. What if descara went for BC's 2? What if descara went for BC's 2? He could get across the field faster than his opponent, because he'd be pushing off of 2 base unbeknownst to his enemy. Saban carrier really squishy at low power levels. We're not going to have problems where Saban BCs just hold the whole, where Saban BCs just like hold the whole mid-ground of the map. LAV's chunking each other over here. It looks like Orbnet actually going to get the better end of this engage right now, because he's going to get the high ground up on that hill. descara going to have to run back to the SC, and this is going to give the LAV a lot of vision for actually a pretty long time here. Carrier production upgrade was cancelled then. What is he building? Is that an SC? No. I don't... Yeah, it is an SC. So he's just going to try to expand up onto his 3rd base. But of course he knows that his opponent is ahead here? No, they're even. Ooh. Yeah, exactly this. E-game's correct about that. And, by the way, I gotta say, I am too. That's gonna be a really fun one to watch. You know, I take it back because descara didn't have the production upgrade yet, so actually he is gonna be out eco'd here still. Not by a lot, but a little bit. But he didn't have to build as many AAVs here. He's only got 1. Because he does have the turret to defend. And the base runner gonna be making a very smart move off toward the other side. Although, you know what? The turret is actually probably more expensive than the AAVs, though, so maybe that's not even good. Carrier popping around here. Carrier protection upgrade just now is going to be finishing. And this is why I'm saying maybe descara needs to go for the sledgehammer, because we already know that BC Fab's going to be on the way, but it's a bit too late for it now. But he's got to have some kind of answer to these BCs. That's like the big thing that he's been lacking. Maybe Rails is the key here, but certainly not just more AAVs like he's been doing. Well, I think the reason why Orb is able to do any of this is because he gets ahead on eco really well because of his ability to cheese like that. So I don't know if that would really be worth it for him. Maybe, but I don't know. Attack is repelled from Orb, but again, another turret had to be placed to do this. Oh, you'd build the base runner at the time that you get AVs, huh? That seems like, I don't know. You could try some interesting things where you actually do like an AV rush. Like with the BR retire. And then push out with it and get the targeting jammer set up, but... But you are right, there's no cooldown on that jammer. Good old DOK sound effects, man. This game is so freaking cool. Yeah, seriously, I mean, he's done the same build every time, and descara is doing the same build too, which it didn't work last time. Like, he's teching into BCs. But he knows his opponent's going to be ahead here. And if he scouts with this probe, which he hasn't done so far, but he really needs to, he'll know that that carrier's out in the field already too. This is... I think he's going to lose this. He could get 3-0'd here. This is like a really bad scenario to be in for descara, and he's not adapting. And look, Orb has actually been able to do this even faster because he didn't even feel the need to tech SCAA. Because he's got scouting on this carrier, and he knows his opponent is not going air. Descara's gonna get 3-0'd, what the heck? Because there's, like, I don't know, I'm really worried he's not gonna be able to stop this push. He's seen the carrier for the first time, right? Oh, he hasn't seen it yet. Okay, he just saw the BC. The BC shot at him, so he knows about that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's true. Descara is saving up pretty good money for a push here, but also an extraction probably going to go out for Orb. These 3 turrets definitely haven't done him any favors here. Because this AV push can't even be stopped by like just 1 turret like that. He's going to have to set down another one, which is really bad. And He can't stop this extraction. Yeah, I will explain. He did have a lot of CUs banked up there, but the reason is because he's saving up to double produce the BCs. And carrier power 2 is a good choice. I think Orb maybe being a bit too passive. I think his window is actually right there to just insta-win. And that certainly doesn't mean that he's going to lose now, but, I don't know. This could still go either way, but this is looking pretty bad for descara, I'm not going to lie. Although this push was repelled, actually. Even just the 2 AVs couldn't get in on that turret. So that's really good for descara. If he doesn't lose the salve, that'd be excellent. He is going to lose the salve there, but that's not a huge deal. But the BCs are out for descara now. And Orbnet going to attempt to occupy this high ground position right now, too. This is not where descara wants to be then moving up onto the hill, but it looks like Orb is going to reconsider. If he'd gone up there and descara had pushed onto this hill blindly, he'd probably have died because those BCs have so much more range. Targeting jammer is insane and it's put down. This guy can't even smoke himself. The other BC does, but oh no. What is this nonsense? He kills a BC because of this targeting jammer. No, that's so bad for descara. That was insane. And the smoke was popped on the wrong BC here too, so this one's going to go down too. What? What an outplay. Oh my gosh. That's terrible. I think descara is going to lose now because there's like... What does he do again about this? There's like 5 BCs here. He's got another one to be fair, but like he was really banking on winning this fight, but... Oh my gosh. This is horrifying, man. And it's a free ability. Yeah, that targeting jammer, it can really mess you up. This is crazy. Carrier's starting to get really chunked here now. descara knows he's got to run it. SC gets sniped pretty much instantly too. Oh my gosh, the damage output here on this high ground. I mean, how is... Like, what is descara gonna do to get his opponent off of this high ground? Whew, this BC narrowly escapes with its life. But that's the thing, they've got range on the base here. I mean, what does he do about that? This is gonna be just free extract for the rest of the game. This is really good. This is really good counter pressure though. So this is good for descara. The BC is gonna come try and deal with this. Whoa, the sound of BCs in the distance. Listen to that. Oh, dude, I've never heard that sound effect before. That's terrifying sounding. It's just like, you know, that's sick, dude. If you ever forgot how cool DOK is, you know. Distant Soban BCs, man. Second artifact extraction comes out for Orbnet. He hasn't had to take any carrier power either. And this is going to be descara's last stand. I mean, make no mistake, if he can't hold here, he loses the game. And he's going to make a push in now. Try and kill off this Soban BC while it's weak. I think he'll get it. Okay, so this is good. This is what he needs. Instantly jibs this one right here. Oh, this one really needs to not push over this hill though, because there's a lot of BC action, you know, just chunk him down instantly. Smoke, smoke, smoke! Ooh, that was really close. But there's actually really good AV smoke in general, and all these BCs are really low right now. One of them probably going to go down on this side. Okay, he takes it out. BC smoke used here too to delay the fight. This is really good. Now this one needs the smoke as well. Gonna miss the smoke on that. That's a little bit uncharacteristic for descara. But he's trading really, really efficiently here. Is he building more? Ah, his resources are just not really there. He does have a new one though. It's out now. Bit of overkill on that BC there. This one needs the smoke. Misses the smoke there. The targeting jammer! Oh my gosh, this is so impactful. This is really close though. Descara's doing a really good job on this hold. Support cruisers can't even heal when they're in it. And the damage output is just too high, I fear, for Orbnet, who's building... No more BCs though, there's no more on the queue, so there's just these two left. And there's a BC coming out from Descara, but it's just going to be too late. And that targeting jammer, I think, just won him the game right there. Unless maybe there's a chance. No, I think Descara's going to die here now. He does have an AV, smoke is almost there, but he's dead. And Descara goes down 3-0 to Orbnet. What the heck? What is this quarterfinal? This is craziness. Orbnet takes the game. What the heck? That's incredible. I'm really glad no one spoiled this this quarterfinal for me, because I was expecting a 3-0 on the other side, to be honest. But Descara goes down. Wow. I mean, I don't know. I feel like AV Rush was so obvious here, right? But it wasn't... He didn't use it in any of the games. I want to see what happens when Orbnet gets AV Rushed, because I feel like that would be the way to kill him here, but... Man. I'm astounded. Well, thanks for watching, I guess.